What has been the immediate trigger for the violence that is occurring in Manipur?
So the immediate one is on the 3rd of May. There was really organized by Achum, this is a tribal students body, against the this NST demand by the Meitei community, and they were objecting to that one. That is development, as you mentioned. The High Court have intervened, so that's what it really is. But that really got violent, and that's how the violence was triggered. That was the immediate one. But it, as you have mentioned, a series of developments. But before that, there is this question of church being removed and forest evictions and so on. But you must know that this is the immediate one in the terms. But there are issues around that. Like, for example, about the tribal students objecting to this survey to be conducted on the forest areas. And they think that that is an excuse to evict the population from there and so on. So, but the state government would say that they're doing their job. In fact, the Union Minister of Environment, Govindra Yadav, also said that the state government was only performing its constitutional duty and so on. And the three churches you have mentioned is also, they said, the government response is that this was on the government's land. It was a government quarter. These are the claims and counterclaims that one can always look for it. So that's the position. But this is not the only issue. What one must look, as Foucault would say, engagement with the present casts a shadow in the past. And you need to have the genealogical development of that one. I think the most crucial frame is to go beyond this. These are only the spark, but there was a material to burn. What was that material? And that material is the so-called divide between the hill and the valley, or the tribal and the non-tribal. So you need to know the genealogy of this. I think if it is no such divide, none of these events would have taken place. So I think it is the major factor is to look into this historicity of this divide. So I can briefly, to cut a long story short, you must know that this divide is artificial. Because you know that how there is a hill and valley divide, this topographical sense. If you know that how the Himalayas was formed in the collision between the two plates of the Indian plate and the Euro-Asia plate, and how Himalayan ranges are formed. So Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram, these are part of that Himalayan ranges. So it is a mountainous region. This is the hill areas. Okay? And incidentally, the Planning Commission from the mid-1960s onwards also defined Manipur, Nagaland and Mizoram, along with other states in the Himalayan ranges like Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. All are considered as a hill state. So they have actually two typologies, hill state and state with hill areas. So Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram were part of the hill state. And then Assam, for example, is not a hill state, but a state with hill areas. So is Madhya Pradesh, it's a state with hill areas. Now in Manipur, so they started looking at the hill state. You are saying there's a divide between plain and the hill. So that's a false dichotomy. And I'll give you this example. Then they are looking as if this so-called divide is a divide between, say, Brahmaputra Valley and the then Naga Hill district, now the Kohima as the district headquarters, now the state capital. So relationship between Guwahati and Kohima is the same as if the relationship between Imphal and Churachandpur, for example. The fact of the matter is, Kohima is something like 1,600, 800 meters above the sea level, and Guwahati is less than 100. So like 14, 15 times higher. So that's Brahmaputra Valley's relationship with the Naga Hills is not the same as the relationship between what you're calling a valley in Imphal and the hills. Take, for example, you will be surprised to know, Imphal is 800 meters, a little more than that, and Champur, which is the epicenter of this violence, is barely 900 something. So difference is only 100 meters, and the other difference is in terms of 1,500 meters. So this is a false dichotomy. In the same hill state, you're dividing about AZ, which is the Brahmaputra Valley and Naga Hills, or take in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, relationship between Varanasi, Allahabad, Lucknow, and Dehradun, which is again, if you see it, it is like 6-7 times higher. It is around 600 meter plus Dehradun, and then Banaras will be below 100, it's around 50-60 meters. Lucknow will be around 120 meters. So the relationship between the Indo-Gangetic Plain and the Dehradun, or Guwahati with Kohima, the then Naga Hill, they think that it is as if it is the same. It's not the same. In fact, the Ukhrul and some of the higher region will be like double, twice, not 15 times difference or 16 times difference between Guwahati and Kohima. What I'm saying is basically it is a hill area. And by definition, valley is a part of a hilly region, by definition. So now here you have introduced a false dichotomy. It is a mistake done. And this was done in colonial period as well as post-colonial period. We have not been able to correct this mistake. Along with that, Britishers used to split these two people as civilized, uncivilized sort of thing, like a comparative civilization surrounded by, as British languages, Lord Lyell, as he once wrote, about naked barbarians, wild tribes and so on. They don't realize that these people have been interacting and they've been conducting war together. They fight among themselves, also conduct war against others. And they intermarry. Even some of the queens of the ruling elites is from the hill areas, and some of these peoples have been doing a shared role in agricultural life, economic interdependence. So you have divided us. The British have used the same modalities of looking at European histories, like the Roman and the barbarians from the north, the Germanic tribe. So they have implicated this one. And similarly, like the way they have seen in Assam, the hill tribe, the Nagas and the Brahmaputra Valley, they employ, so they call it hill tribe. So after they take over Manipur, though they didn't annex, de facto they were already there after 1891 war with the British. They started dividing these people. Many people have mistaken, it's not a division on geography. They divided the hill tribes and from these Imphal, especially Imphal Valley area. And they said all the affairs of the hill tribe will be governed by the president of the Manipur State Darbar, which is a British officer, in the name of the Maharaja in consultation with him. So many people have misinterpreted as if it is a geographical. It's not a geographical decision. The order that they issue is that these hill tribes, who are, even if they are residing in and around the palace, right in the Imphal, or the periphery of Imphal, will still be governed by that British officer. So it is not the territory, but the people. Now this division was converted into a geographical division as well in 1971 by the government of India. So what was divided in post-colonial, in the colonial period was reinforced in a more dangerous manner in terms of the land. So that's why this hill valley divide has been created on false dichotomy. It is, you see, the Ahomia speakers is an Indo-Aryan language, and Tibeto-Burman language, the dialect spoken by the Nagas or the Lusais, the Mizos. Right? But the language spoken by the Meiteis and language spoken by the Tangkhuls and the Skukis are the same linguistic family. So you have forced divided on, and that was continued in post-colonial. Ironically, in post-colonial period, we are supposed to reverse and decolonize. We have not done. So in these four categories, the dynamics of modern competitive democratic politics. So people started playing on these divisions rather than neutralizing it. So these politicians started playing on their divisions. So you blame the Meiteis, you win elections. Then somebody will position as a savior of the Meiteis, against this. So they play around and do this. Along with this ethno-nationalist project, also rather than seeing through this colonial category, they harp on these divisions. That is the precursor, because this has created, so this was a false dichotomy created, and based on that, this mistrust and hatred is manufactured. Remember that hatred and mistrust, people talked about it. It is not, they are not given. They are not natural. They are manufactures to discourses in academic literatures, in media article and discourses, or places of worship. So this hatred and mistrust has been reproduced and crafted continuously on academic writing. Some say living separately, and his Maites are dominant. And I told you there is a sense of discriminations and deprivations. And I told you there are certain structural issues involved, and they don't take care of that.